Good morning, Monte. It is Tuesday. As you can see, I didn't dye my hair like I was supposed to. Sorry. I will try to do that this weekend, if not. So, because it's Tuesday, I'm supposed to be making a video about a serial killer, but I'm not doing that because the person that I'm making the video about isn't technically a serial killer. Because I'm making my video about Gein, and I probably said his name wrong, but I'm going to continue doing that throughout the rest of this. This person was suggested to me by Martha, so, you know, I have her to thank for quite a lot of joy, actually. I had fun researching him because he was very interesting with his actions, and let's go. Ed Gein was an American murderer and body snatcher whose crimes were committed in and around his hometown of Plainfield, Wisconsin, which just strengthens my belief that all people who live in Wisconsin are insane. He's not technically a serial killer because he only killed 2 women, but he would exhume corpses from graveyards and make keepsakes out of their bones and skin. His case influenced various horror movies by inspiring characters such as Norman Bates from Psycho, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs. Gein was born in La Crosse, Wisconsin to George and Augusta Gein. Augusta openly despised her husband, but the marriage was continued because they had a religious belief against divorce. Eventually, they got a farm on the outskirts of Plainfield, which then became the family's permanent home. They moved to the farm because of Augusta's wishes to keep outside sources from influencing her 2 sons, Henry and Edward. She taught her boys the innate immorality of the world, the evils of drinking, and the belief that all women were prostitutes and instruments of the devil. Every afternoon she would read them passages from the Bible, normally the very graphic Old Testament verses about death, murder, and divine retribution. Ed was the target of bullies at his school due to his being generally shy and effeminate. And he would have these really odd mannerisms, such as just randomly laughing at nothing, which is something I will start doing, so that's cool. His mother would also punish him every time he tried to make friends, so pretty much Henry and Ed were sort of stuck being the other's only friend. But he was always really devoted to his mom, and he tried to please her, but, you know, she wasn't that easy to please, and she would often abuse both of her sons because she believed that they were destined to end up being failures like their father. Again, despite how his mother treated him, he was absolutely devoted to her, and when she died in December of 1945, he was incredibly devastated and felt as if he was alone in the world, which he kind of was because, you know, by that point his father had already died and his brother had died, so those were pretty much the only people that he was close to. So, you know, he was sort of alone. And he stayed at his farm and supported himself with various odd jobs. He boarded up any rooms that had been used by his mother and left them untouched, which is odd. When questioned after he got arrested, he told investigators that he made as many as 40 trips to local cemeteries in the middle of the night while in a daze. On about 30 of those occasions, he came out of the daze whilst at the cemetery and went home empty-handed. On the other times, however, he dug up the graves of middle-aged women that he thought resembled his mother, took the bodies home, and tanned them to make his keepsakes. After his mother's death, Gein had decided that he wanted a sex change, and began the process of creating a woman suit out of the tanned skins of the corpses that he took, so he could pretend to be female, which pretty much means that he cut their skins off and wore them. He would also carefully peel the faces from the corpses and wear them as masks. Just because. He never had sex with them, though, because he thought they smelled bad. But he would wear their skins. Apparently, that is less horrifying than... He was charged with 1 count of first-degree murder and pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Because of this, he was sent to the Central State Hospital for the Criminally Insane, before later being transferred to a different mental hospital in Madison, Wisconsin. 11 years later, he was considered sane enough to stand trial, and after about a week of that, he was found guilty of first-degree murder and spent the rest of his life in the mental hospital. When they investigated his home, among the things that they found were Mary Warden, who was one of the women that he killed. They found her decapitated body in the shed, hung upside down by ropes at her wrists with a crossbar at her ankles. Her torso was dressed out like that of a deer, which is quite odd. 4 noses, whole human bones and fragments of bones, 9 skin masks, bowls made from human skulls, 10 female heads with the top sawn off, human skin covering several chair seats, Mary Hogan, who was the other lady that he killed, her head in a paper bag, Bernice Warden's head in a burlap sack, 9 pieces of female genitalia in a shoebox, a belt made from human nipples, skulls on the bedposts, organs in the refrigerator, a pair of lips on a drawstring for a window shade, and a lampshade made from the skin of a human face. I have to point out that it would be incredibly difficult to make a belt out of nipples, and I don't know how he accomplished this, but I'm slightly impressed at his, ability to make that. And I'm also impressed by how, he had to be, really skilled with knives to get the skins for his women's suits off, because, oh my god, it just really impressive. And slightly disturbing, but still very impressive. Actually, mostly disturbing. It's actually incredibly disturbing, but still impressive. Apart from influencing movie characters, Ed Gein has also inspired music just by the shock value of his name. For an example of that, Dead Skin Mask by Slayer. I haven't heard it, completely, because... Ed Gein the Musical premiered January 2010 in Menasha, Wisconsin, and I said that wrong too, probably, but anyways, so that was a quick history about Ed Gein, and now I don't know how to finish this, but, thanks again to Martha for suggesting creepy Wisconsinites to make a video about. Again, if you have any suggestions for what other serial killers or just body snatch, I don't even care. If you have any suggestions for what to make my Tuesday videos about, as long as they're, creepy and gruesome, tell me, and I will do that. Alright, that's all for today, because this video is almost 10 minutes long. I'm sorry. I will go now. Stay awesome, and I will see you tomorrow.